Welcome to Coffee with Ken, a podcast devoted to the music of Oklahoma and those who create it. Your host, Ken Childers, is a lifelong music lover, former radio guy, and current newspaper editor. In each episode, we'll take a look, as well as a listen, to the singers, songwriters, and performers who have Oklahoma roots. So grab your mug, sit back, and enjoy this episode of Coffee with Ken.
Welcome to Coffee with Ken. My special guest today is a hard-working singer-songwriter. She performs all over southeastern Oklahoma, sometimes solo, sometimes with a great band. And she's a regular performer down at Blake Shelton's Old Red in Tishomingo. We're talking about Miss Emily Rhyne. Welcome, Emily.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're from Ada, and you're what, about 20-something, I guess?
I just turned 25.
Oh, wow.
It depends how much time you got, how much you want to know. I went into this to sing and perform, and then the more that I do this and the more I get on stage, I've figured out that I'm very much a talker. So I'm really excited to be here and chit-chat with you. Let's see, about me. If anybody, for those who don't know me, I am a third-generation musician. So my mom is in my band as my bass player. My dad was a well-known musician in our area. He actually played for Reba McEntire for a while.
Oh, wow.
My grandpa was kind of a local legend, so he was like the standard here for a long time. He taught me how to play guitar. My mom taught me how to sing and how to have stage presence and confidence and how to work a bandstand. And I feel like I still have so much further to go, and I learn a little bit more every single time I'm on stage. And I've just been doing this full time for about 4 years now. I was raised around it. I've spent my whole life at bandstands, and so there really wasn't anything else I wanted to do. My family, especially when I was like, "Hey, I want to do that. I want to join you guys." I think it scared them a little bit because it's a whole different ball game than if I wanted to be like a doctor or something. It's not as set in stone, and it's not as guaranteed. And I'll tell you what, though, it's a whole lot more fun. I'm very, very lucky, very, very fortunate that I've got to do this for the last few years, and that people actually still want me to be there and people want me to perform, and getting to do that in any capacity is really, really cool. So getting to do stuff like this as well, where people want to hear about me, it still doesn't make any sense to me. I still feel like that 17-year-old girl that was just begging to, get on any stage. So I'm just trying to make a full career out of this and go as far as I can.
Well, good. What's the first song you ever learned to play and sing?
Okay, well, see, that's a two-part question. That's a good question. I don't know if anybody's ever asked me that. So the first song I ever learned to play on the guitar itself would be a toss-up between, I kind of don't even know if I can remember how to play it. It was Wildwood Flower, just the instrumental part.
That's the first song I ever learned too on guitar.
Really? Oh, well, small world.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandpa taught me that, and then it was a bunch of Christmas songs. I think I was like 11, and I annoyed every member of my family, I'm sure. And because you're just learning, and you're like a kid, and your fingers don't have your calluses yet,
Right.
and so you're doing everything you can. And so it was a mix between that, and then I'm not really sure on guitar and singing because it kind of came. This is what happened. Let me just tell you this story. So I was in 6th grade, and I was in band. So it was my first year in band. I was learning how to play the flute, and so that came with learning how to read music and how to do scales and all the classical education. And at the same time, I wanted to learn the guitar. And so my mom and my grandpa kind of went head to head about it because my grandpa was so excited and waited his whole life for me to ask him to teach me. And my mom insisted, hey, hold on, we'll get there, but let her learn to read music, let her learn the classical, and then we can teach her, the ear stuff. And so I started just with basic scales, and honestly, he taught me lead first, which is interesting because I am not a lead player. But then it got into open chords, and then he wanted to teach me bar chords. And I resisted so hard. I feel terrible looking back because, you learn the basic G, D, E minor, C.
Right.
I was like, I'm 11. I don't need to know anything else. I'm good. Like, this is as far as I need to go. And my grandpa begged, like, please learn the bar chords. It'll make your life so much easier. And I said, nope, too hard. Don't want to do it. But then all I wanted to do was sing. And I would look up these songs that I wanted to sing and all the chords. And every song had chords I didn't know how to play, or they required bar chords.
Right.
And so I ended up having to eat my words. And I was like, okay, I need to know how to play the bar chords. So I don't really think it was any one song I learned how to play or sing. The only one I could remember is Wildwood Flower, and I don't think I could do it anymore. But one of the
That's
first
a
songs.
beautiful melody, I tell you.
Oh yeah. God, that brought back a memory I forgot I had. The one of the first songs I ever sang on a stage though, like with my grandpa, would be a toss up. I know "Swingin'" by John Anderson was a big hit for me. You
Right.
couldn't find a better country song in my mind. Or like "House of the Rising Sun,"
Okay.
"Pride," "Pick Me Up on Your Way Down." Those were like the standards because
Right.
I used to ask my grandpa like, let me sing with the band, and they're like, yeah, of course, you're cute, you're young, you're Ernie's granddaughter, like what do you want to sing? And I went up to these men and I was like, well, what do you got by Lady Gaga? And they were like, go sit down, I don't know, you had one chance, you failed, get out of here. So my grandpa was very much like, okay, let's find something that the band will know and that you can learn. So it was just kind of a toss up. I learned a bunch of stuff simultaneously, and once I figured out how to read, um, I would literally spend like hours doing it. I mean, I can't even tell you. So a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Long
At
way
some
around to get to
point,
that answer.
at some point, you said, I'm going to write my own music.
Yep. So that was a little different too. So I've written for a long time, like since I was 7 or 8. But those
Okay.
songs are horrendous. They're so embarrassing. They're so bad because 7 year olds, at least me, I didn't have any life experience to draw on. So
Right.
those songs are so cheesy and so mortifying. And my mom and my sister still tease me about them to this day. And then I got up and about I was 14, maybe. No, not even 12 to 14. You start kind of getting crushes on boys, and then those boys don't like you back. And then you get really frustrated and sad. And then the songs just write themselves.
I see.
So from about 14 on is when it kind of started. And then it became this whole thing where nobody was safe. I mean, that's how I processed everything. And I'm very much an overthinker. I'm I'm on the sensitive side. I get my feelings hurt. And I was a pushover and I was really, really innocent. Just, I didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And so, because of that, I ended up getting walked on a lot and getting taken advantage of. And I just found myself in situations over and over where I was on the losing end, whether it was with friends or boys or my sister and I would get in a fight or whatever. And I didn't know how to communicate that. And so I would just go home and I'd sit in my room for hours and I would write something out. And I still have all of them from like 15 on of songs that I'd written. And it's interesting to see the growth because some of it like has held up, but I go back and look at it and I go, oh my gosh, like, why were you so upset over this like little bitty itty thing? But it is really cool to kind of see the progression and how much things have changed over the years. And it was like a don't talk to Emily, she's gonna write a song about you. And now people are like, oh my gosh, are you gonna write a song about me? And I'm like, do you want me to?
Yeah, that's kind of a, yeah, I think you want me to right there.
So it just
Well, what?
it's been very, very interesting, but overall the response, has been pretty well received. I mean, I sometimes it's come back to haunt me a few times. So I'm sorry I'm talking, but I
That's all
these
right.
stories are so funny. I played a show a couple months ago and I'd went on break and these guys had come up to me and they were a year younger than me in high school. So I didn't really know them, but I kind of knew who they were. And they asked me for an original song, one that I wrote when I was in ninth grade, 10th grade. And I did not know these guys really. And I had to sit there and I go, why do you know that song? How do you know that song? What is going? I'm like looking for the cameras, like what's happening? And they're like, no, we're friends with the guy that you wrote it about. And I'm sitting there going, oh no, 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 no. And they're like, no, they said, we love it. We play it for him all the time. I said, dude, that song is 10 years old.
Wow.
Why are you torturing this boy? And he's like, no, I seriously love it all the time. Like, I listen to it all the time. I listen to it on my way home from work. Can you please play it? And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is my dream and my nightmare all in one. um,
Well,
so
you've
it's
got the guitar. Why don't you play us one real
hey,
quick?
absolutely. Maybe we won't play that one, but yeah, it's been interesting to see how it follows me. So I'll do a newer one for you.
Okay.
So this is one I just turned 25
Okay.
and I did not adjust well to it. It was I don't know why it bothered me so much. I love my birthday. I'm one of those people that gets so excited and something about being hitting like the mid 20s, like my quarter life crisis, I was like, oh no, this is stop, make it stop. So like the only way I know how do you process? You go and you write a song about it. So this one kind of broke my writer's block,
Okay.
but it makes me laugh. So this one's brand new. This is called The Older I Get.
All right. Let's hear it.
The older I get, the older I feel. As good as it gets, let's get down to real. I used to be on top of the world, now I'm over there. The older I get, the older I feel. Well, I used to be this, and now people call me ma'am. I used to be a gimmick, but a flash in the pan. I used to be the young one, honey, take me back to it. They used to wanna see ID, now they just let me in. The older I get, the older I feel. Let's get down tickets, let's get down to real. I used to be on top of the world, now I'm over there. The older I get, the older I feel. Well, I might be 25, but my bones would disagree. In my prime, but how I'm alive, straight gray hairs and creaky knees. Nothing I can power through. I'm white knuckling my youth. I ain't afraid of aging, I'm just doing it too soon. The older I get, the older I feel. Let's get down tickets, let's get it way too real. I used to be on top of the world, now I'm over the hill. The older I get, the older I feel. Bad genetics or bad luck ain't nothing I can't live or do. But the older I get, the older I feel. The older I get, the older I feel.
If you had to name your top three influences,
Oh,
could you do that?
yeah, that's like picking a favorite child, though.
Yeah.
Um, so some of it, I mean, like there's different types of influences. There's just people that I idolize and people that I look up to in the music that they write. There's people that I look up to in terms of my own songwriting. But like, okay, I usually always got to throw Dolly in there. I was raised on Dolly Parton. That was I think Jolene was like the first song I ever learned all the words
Wow.
to. I think every child should be raised on Dolly Parton for
Mhm.
generations to come. Um, and then Fleetwood Mac is another big one for me. I do so many of their songs. I actually got to see them in concert for their reunion tour, so like once in
Wow.
a lifetime. I like The Chain is one of my favorite songs of all time. So a lot of Fleetwood Mac stuff. And then I don't know the last one. That there's a lot of them. Let me just give you like a honorable mentions. I like a
Okay,
lot of I like Toby Keith a lot.
okay,
I like some newer age stuff too. Like I do country music and I was raised on country music, but I'm also very much a pop girly. You know, I love the boy bands and the different things like that, the cheesy pop songs. But in terms of influences, probably Dolly, maybe Carrie Underwood as well, especially like her older stuff, the bluesy stuff, and the Beatles. Oh my gosh, I could be here forever just
okay.
listing stuff off because I feel bad now leaving anybody out. I'm gonna end this call and go,
Right.
oh no, we need to start over. I forgot about somebody. But Dolly and Fleetwood are the ones that immediately came into my brain. I mean, I feel like if you morphed those into a person, you would probably get me.
Well, last time we talked, you mentioned that not too long ago you went to a concert featuring an Oklahoman, and it was down in Oklahoma, just down by the border, I think, at the casino down there. And you said this
Yeah.
was almost a kind of a life-changing concert for you.
Yes,
Who
yes.
was it?
Okay. That was Vince Gill. Oh my goodness gracious. I when you said Oklahoma, I'm like, okay, are we gonna talk about Blake Shelton? Are we gonna talk, I was going down the list. No, Vince Gill, that wasn't too long ago. That was Oh my gosh, that whole experience from start to finish was so cool. First of all, so Vince had decided to come down and do this concert at WinStar, but he also partnered up with Shine, which is a nonprofit organization out of Oklahoma City, kind of run and operated by my buddy Brian Mon, who is the Oklahoma County Commissioner, I believe.
Yeah,
And so the fact that Vince was already partnering with the Chickasaw Nation and with Shine was a humongous deal for Oklahoma. And so I got a call from Brian and he's like, hey, do you want to go see Vince Gill? And I was like, well, heck yeah. So we got to go and it was unlike anything I had seen before. So I mean, I again show my age. I am only 25, and so I kind of missed out on that whole era of like old-fashioned, good standard country music shows. I missed out on the honky tonks and the dance clubs and the rodeos. And so, usually all the concerts that I've ever attended have been very theatrical, which is great and so much fun, and I love each and every one of those. But I had never been to a concert where he just came out. There was no opener. He just came out. He greeted the audience, talked to us like we were his friends, and just stood there and played his guitar with his band. And it was all about the music. And I just remember like leaving and like buzzing
yeah,
afterwards, because I just sat there the whole time, just going, "This is what I need to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to bring back." Where it's about the music, and you don't have to get up there, especially as a girl, you don't have to get up there and wear a fancy outfit and have,
right.
choreography and, distract away from the music. You can just get up there and do what you love to do and it be received just as well. And so I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I won't forget he got up there and he introduced himself as Amy's husband, which I thought was kind of
Yeah.
awesome. And so just the whole experience, oh my gosh, every song was just fantastic. And he is, oh my gosh, an incredible guitar player. I mean, he was just going to town. And I'm sitting next to my mom, just catching flies.
Yeah, he's
um,
an amazing performer, no doubt.
oh my gosh.
And let's talk about another Oklahoma guy. You brought him up a second ago, Blake Shelton.
Oh yeah.
You managed to get on The Voice a few years. How long's it been? 2 or 3 years
Oh,
now?
well, I was out there in 2022, but the episode didn't air till 23. So it's been a good
Okay.
3 years now, which is insane that it's been that long. That whole experience, we could film a whole nother episode on The Voice. I don't know how, like, it still feels like a fever dream for me because I mean, when literally, I kid you not, when the show came out, I remember sitting, I was like 12 or 13, watching it with my mom. And like looking over at her and saying, I'm going to go do that one day. And I'm going to tell Blake Shelton that I'm from Ada. You're like 12 or 13. Cool. Yeah, you can say that. And then actually, before I did music, I worked at a Home Depot, and we did during like one of the employee appreciation weeks, we did like a superlative thing, and I was voted most likely to win the voice. So after I got the call and doing the whole thing, I wasn't even going to audition. I had never thought to do it that way. And honestly, I was kind of too scared to. But it was Blake's mom, Dorothy, that actually kind of motivated me to go do it. I had played a show in the doghouse, and I'd been playing it already for like a solid year. And so I'd made a lot of friends. And she's like, "Why have you not auditioned?" And I said, "They're not going to take me. There's no way. I don't think I'm good enough." And she's like, "Well, you're not going to know unless you try." So it was the craziest thing because I just did an open call. So what that means is I just reserved a little video time, and then when the time came, the camera turned, or the website turned into a camera, and you have a minute and a half to sing whatever song you want, tell them your name and where you're from. And so I sang that minute and a half, and then 10 minutes later, I got an email, and it was like, "Oh, you're on to the next round." And I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
"Round? What do you mean round? How many more of these are there?" So I had to send like three more videos in, and then they wanted to have a Zoom call with me. And then I had to fill out a bunch of paperwork. And I started the process in June. And then it was like mid July, I finally got a call. Um, and I didn't answer it. It was an unknown, it was a California number. And I wasn't thinking, I was like, "Oh, a scam call." So I remember I'm by myself on break in between shows, and I answered the phone, and I just didn't say anything. I just sat there waiting for the robot to, ask me for my credit card. And they're like, "Emily?" And I said, "Yeah." And they're like, "This is the voice." And I'll tell you what, Ken, I about threw my phone out the car. I was like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And I was like, "I'm so sorry," like kind of realizing what's happening. "I'm so sorry. I thought you were a robot." And they're like, "No, it's all good. We just wanted to offer you a blind audition." And I'm like shaking in the car, and nobody's with me. And it was this big secret that I had to keep for like a year, which was, oh my gosh, the hardest thing in the world. But getting to go and do that, I mean, it was nothing like I expected, and it was also everything that I expected. There's a lot of things that I wish I had done differently. For anybody that is watching and thinking that I like got on and went the whole way, I did get to go, which is a success in itself, but I didn't get a chair turn. I was really, really nervous. It was the scariest thing I've ever done, which is great because every show I've done after that doesn't bother me.
Okay, right.
Nothing. I
Yeah.
don't get stage fright. No, no nerves. That and the national anthem are the only two things that phase me anymore. But you know what? I was grateful. I got to do exactly what I wanted to do. I got to go out there. I was the first female from Ada and the second person in the entirety of the show's history to be from Ada to
Oh,
get to
wow.
even have the audition. And I got to tell Blake who I was, and I got to make it even worse by telling him that I played at the restaurant and that I knew his whole family, and I'd brought him gifts, and that he knew my grandpa and he worked with my grandpa, and so he felt horrible, which made me feel bad, but I didn't feel that bad because I was like, "Well, then why didn't you turn around, dude?"
Right. And you
um,
actually played him a recording
hmm
that he,
Oh yeah.
what was he like 14 or something singing,
Mhm. It was
Do Miss
Dumas
Walker?
Walker. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
remember
was
that.
actually, and see that we came upon that video like 2 or 3 months before I even auditioned. That's why I feel like God kind of had a hand through the whole thing. It's just very interesting how everything worked out. Because I'd come, and this is embarrassing, and if Blake ever hears this, I'll have to just own it. But I remember I'd come home one day, and my mom had this big, like old school CD player that had like a cassette tape thing in it, and she was playing it for me. And she didn't give me any context. She didn't tell me what it was. And she played it, and she goes, "What do you think?" And I was like, "What girl was that singing?" And she goes, "That's Blake Shelton." I said, "No, it's not." And she's like, "No, that's Blake Shelton and your grandpa." And I went back and listened to it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." So when I got the chance to go to the show, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to bring this." Because it was also his last season. So I got to represent for Ada and for Tish and for the state of Oklahoma.
Right.
And kind of for my grandpa and my musical lineage and my mom. And it was really, really cool. But um, Man, there's so many things I wish I could have done differently. But like for instance, they brought Reba on as the guest coach afterwards. And I was one round away from having
Oh,
Blake and Reba in one room, which
oh my
hurt my
goodness.
feelings. But I got to meet Kelly Clarkson. Chance the Rapper was there. And then I got to meet Niall Horan from One Direction, which, as I said, I'm a big boy band fanatic. So it was just like the Lord was smiling on me. You know, it was okay that I didn't get a turn because I was meeting all of my idols in one fell swoop. So I don't regret the experience at all. I would love to go back and try again. I've auditioned a few times, but I haven't gotten past the first round. And I don't know if that was just like a deal of like, oh, you had your chance or what it was. But I feel like maybe Blake owes me a favor now. So maybe I need to call him and say, okay, I can't, they won't let me in. Like, what can we do?
Several years ago, I guess it was in 2022, after Seminole got hit by a tornado,
Hmm.
I put together an auction, and you actually picked up a guitar for me that
I did,
Blake
didn't
and
I?
Glenn signed.
I
And
totally forgot about that.
yeah, and so I kind of met Dorothy through that process, and I was trying every which way to get to Blake to get that.
Hmm.
And somebody put me in touch with her, and she said, I could get that done. And by golly, she
Oh,
did.
I love Dorothy. Oh
And
my gosh.
speaking of, and we talked about Vince a minute ago. Vince was also gracious enough. I met him in Oklahoma City at his
Really?
concerts at the Oklahoma City Civic Center, and he
Hmm.
signed a Telecaster that we ended up auctioning off. And he gave us prime tickets to the show. We're about
Oh,
5 rows deep.
so you've witnessed the magic. You've
Yeah,
seen it.
yeah,
Oh
and
my
it
gosh.
is magic. It is pure magic when you
Oh
see
my gosh.
Vince.
Like I
Yeah,
remember Pretty Little Adriana was my favorite thing.
yeah,
And it was like my soul left my body for
yeah.
just a minute in the
It,
middle of that one.
it really
Oh my
is.
gosh.
And I don't like to lump. I gotta, as a Christian, I don't like to lump everyday experiences into a spiritual experience,
Right?
but it was. I can honestly
Hey,
say it's a spiritual experience when you see Vince Gill.
well, and they don't call them God-given gifts for nothing.
That's
That's all
right.
I'm saying.
And he sure has it.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I tell you what we've got. I don't want us to run out of time without hearing another song from you.
Okay. If
What
you insist.
the one you did? We talked about last time. We didn't get to air that episode because some technical difficulties, but I think it was called "Take the High Road."
Let's take the high road.
Let's take the high road.
All right. So a little backstory. I gotta tell you where they came from before I give
Okay.
them to you. This is called The
Okay.
High Road. So my mom and I wrote this one together. When my mom and I put our heads together for a song, like it's only happened a few times, but oh my gosh, something about her brain and my brain together. It just makes sense when we put songs together. And this came from a piece of advice my mom has given me my entire life. The girl has always told me to take the high road even on times where all I wanted was to be the smaller person. You live in a small town, and especially when I was in high school, words get thrown around, your name gets brought into stuff that you're not even involved in, and then you're like, how did I get here? What is going on? And how do I get out of it? Take the high road. So this is kind of written for anybody that's been in a situation like that. So
All right. Let's
here we
hear
go.
it.
Consequences, how you straddle thin fences. When it all goes down, you skip town and you get off scot-free. Well, I'm not one to blame it on my previous aggressions. When it comes to confessions, they always mention me. 'Cause I'm always driving down the high road. You'll never see me carrying you.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Well, what's going on right now? What are you working on? I know.
Ooh, what am I working on? A little bit of everything. Right now, I have got a lot of shows booked, which is really, really exciting. If you guys, anybody watching, want to see where I'm at or where I'm gonna be, you guys can follow me on social media. It's Emily Rhyne Music on Facebook and Instagram. I am also in grad school, so I'm fixing to start a new semester here in a few weeks. A lot of people don't know that actually. I'm playing basically every single weekend from here to the end of October, and it'll probably keep going the closer we get to the end of the year. Half and half. Some of it's band shows, some of it's solo. Like for instance, this weekend I'm actually going to play at the Watermelon Festival, just by myself for this year. Hopefully, we can get the band in there next year, which is really exciting. I make
That's in
my
Springs, right?
do
Rush
what?
Spring. That's in
Rush
Rush
Springs.
Springs,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes. That one I'm a little nervous because she said like it's a humongous event. It's like 35,000 people.
Oh
By
my.
the time this comes out, I'll already been a pro. Already been there, done that. And then I make my McSwain debut this month too on August 16th, which is really exciting. Just mostly playing anywhere I can, trying to get into some new venues, get into some more festivals, trying to write a little bit more. I used to write all the time, and I kick myself because I could I could be writing more. But I always am constantly, my voice memos and my notes are filled with teeny tiny little pieces of ideas that come to me throughout the days. So I'm doing that, and I've got some projects coming up that I can't really announce quite yet, but hopefully if I can get off the ground a little bit more. And just trying to network, make some more friends, meet some more people in the industry, learn a little bit more about it. I'd like to put out some more stuff on different streaming services. Still a little bit of ways away from that as well, but just trying to get my foot in any door I can and play on any stage they'll have me. It's getting to be to the point where I get a little bit annoying because I just sit there. I'll stand on a street corner if somebody wants to hear me sing. And that's a reality that I just never thought would happen. Who would, I used to sing in the middle of math class or waiting for the bus, and people would look at me like, "What are you doing?" So the fact that people let me put a microphone in front of me and let me sing and say what basically anything that comes in my brain is just really, really a gift. And I wouldn't have that without the family that I was born into and the influences that I've had over the years or the band that I have right now, people that have played for me in the past. I mean, you're familiar with it, especially in Oklahoma and in my area, but even outside of Ada, Sulphur, Seminole, Davis, Ardmore, the music communities that are in these areas are fantastic. It's a humongous family, and the amount of musicians as well is kind of bizarre for as small as these towns are.
That is the
So,
truth. You can't go anywhere without running into someone. Hey, I play guitar, or I do this, or
oh
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, a
And
lot of them have played on big stages. I mean,
oh
people,
my
yeah, I used to
gosh.
play with Reba. I used to play with whatever.
Oh my God, I'm telling you, and I actually got to like, I reunited with Joe Settlemeyer, or Settlemeyer, not too long ago. And the first time I met him, I was 12 years old, and I got to go up to him and say like, hey, you played with my grandpa. And um, just the amount of music in here is just really, really cool. And to be a part of it is just insane. Again, I remember just begging anybody to let me play and to now kind of be where people know who I am, and it's not as much of a like take a chance on me. It's more of a like, hey, let me just show you what I got. Is really just kind of just a product of the amount of work that I put in. And uh I just want to continue as much as I can and go as far as I can. And if this is as far as I go, heck, I'll be happy. I've made friends. I've been on national TV. I play music for a living. I'm going to be featured in, there's a documentary coming out in about, I don't know, 6 months to a year about Ada and all the music that's come out of Ada. And so I get to kind of represent the next generation of music in
Okay,
that film, which is really, really exciting.
well, that's
So
incredible.
I just, and the fact, it just makes no sense to me because for me, I just feel like that, 11-year-old kid that was trying to learn to play Christmas songs, and getting to have any kind of opportunity to play and do this and grow and learn from these people. And just the friendships alone, I'm telling you, I've been in so many binds where I've had to call people that I only kind of knew, or people that, I was just acquaintances with. And I'm like, hey, you barely know me. Do you have a guitar chord? Are you down the road from me? Can I borrow this? I'm in a bind. I don't have my equipment. Do you have this? And the communities in these areas will jump and run for you. It don't matter. I mean, whether you're best friends or you just know each other on Facebook. And I think that is one of the best parts of this entire business and industry that I get to be a part of, is just having those people that you can fall back on and have those friendships. And so I am just really, really grateful to play a small role in any of it.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Coffee with Ken. I'm Ken Childers. That was Emily Rhyne, and boy howdy, I believe she's got a great career ahead of her. I think you'll agree. Be sure to follow her on Facebook and social media to keep up with what she's doing and where she'll be performing. You'll want to catch her anytime you can. And follow us on Facebook as well, Coffee with Ken. That's all with a K. And I got to give a shout out to my friend Alan Pettit for the great voiceover work that he provided on the front end of my podcast. So thank you, Alan. If you need voiceover work, get in touch with me and I'll put you in touch with him. Thank you again for joining us, and good night.